Time now is 8:27 a.m. in the morning on February 22nd, 222. Yes. Um I went to bed at 4:55 and I woke up at 8:30 and I didn't even immediately fall asleep. So yeah. Fuck. I lost. Um I plan to go to bed at 3:30 a.m. But as expected, um, I sort of spiral out of control in terms of time management. Um, it took me a whole fucking hour to do the religion homework. I thought I could finish it in like 20 minutes or 10 minutes, but it took me a whole ass hour, maybe even more. And I finished doing the homework at around 3:30 a.m. Um, so yeah. Um, yeah. Um, didn't watch anime last night. I ended up not doing any revision for CTCS 300. I ended up not editing the Japan vlogs. I ended up not doing anything other than doing the religion homework. And yeah. Fuck. It's just this makes me rethink my time management even harder. Like, why is it so goddamn difficult? It's been 7 weeks and I still cannot sleep earlier than 4 a.m. It's a simple thing. Sleep before 4 a.m. Why is it so insanely difficult? Why is it has been like 2 months and I still cannot sleep earlier than 4 a.m. Like, why? It's just, I mean, you know, I'm giving myself too much to do inside a day. And second of all, I think it's also, if I sleep earlier and wake up earlier and I continue to do that, it's a snowball effect. So if I wake up late and sleep late, it's just a habit. Meaning that yesterday, had I woken up at 10 a.m., some of the stuff I did at night could be moved to before um before school. And it's just a snowball effect. Fuck, so I don't know. Tonight 3:30 a.m. for real. I have to go to bed 3:30 a.m. Fuck me. Hopefully I don't fall asleep in class today. Hopefully I don't fall asleep. Oh my god. Yeah. Maybe I'll do a re-sleep today afternoon, but I kind of don't want to do that because it's just, I don't know. I'm just wasting more time by sleeping. Um yeah. Still mad about the package thing, but not as mad as last night. If I want to, I can reorder it. Yeah. Cheers. Okay, time now is 10:42 p.m. I finished dinner, which is salmon, spinach, salad, pasta, easy peasy lemon squeezy, nothing fancy. Um, Today there is a tiny bit to talk about. Um, Morning I had a pineapple bun, which is a crazy thing. Like, aside from eating the pineapple bun from the freaking Chinatown bakery, I've never had pineapple bun at home in LA, so that's kind of crazy and um wow, okay. But it wasn't a pleasant eat. It was never pleasant. I stuffed the whole bun in my mouth. I looked at the clock to make sure I'm not late. I stuffed the whole bun in my mouth and then I left. I went for the bus. And then I sat on the bus. I arrived. I had about 10 minutes where I just walk around listening to music while looking at the Gospel of John, and then I went to class. So religion class today, it's all right. 7 people showed up, I believe, including me, plus one guy who is going for a PhD in religion and is sitting in. And we went through the class and it was all right. Again, despite sleeping for probably less than 3 hours today, I never really fell asleep or wanted to fall asleep today. I think I'm like used to this shit now. I'm used to extreme no sleep conditions. But which is bad. Like, I need to go to bed at 3:30. Not even joking. And I swear to God, if I wake up tomorrow saying I fucked up last night, blah blah blah, I cannot do that shit. Okay, 3:30, simple as that. I'm gonna wake up at 8:50 tomorrow. That's gonna give me 5 minutes and 5 hours and 20 minutes, which is not too bad. Okay. Um, yeah, and then tomorrow night, 3 a.m. 3 a.m. at the latest. Okay. So, I digress. We went through the lecture really fast, and then the professor wanted to play the movie Jesus Christ Superstar. And she couldn't play it. The USC library website is not working. So, it didn't play because every time it does, it skips to the end, which is weird. A weird glitch. So she keeps trying to figure things out. And at some point, I can tell she's visibly frustrated. She's like, what's wrong? What's wrong? I came here early today just to test this out and it's not working. And then she's like, okay, fine. Let's watch the other movie then. Let's watch the John Legend version of the same musical. So she searched all over the internet to not find it. And I wanted to help, so I was like, hey, have you checked YouTube? And she was like, oh yeah, I should have learned from my mistake. That's a good suggestion. So she went onto YouTube and she still couldn't find the movie or the musical. And then at the end she's like, I think I have a DVD. So she went to her office and she came back with a DVD of the musical of no of the actual movie itself, like of There's a fucking fly here. Of the movie, and then she had a DVD player. All good, right? Not, because the DVD started skipping. Like every 5 frames, it just skips. It skips 4 frames, so it's like chunky and laggy, and it's terrible. And she just gave up at the end. And she's like, okay, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to let you go today. We'll watch the movie next time. Next week, we'll watch it. But I give up. And then, in a last ditch attempt, I raised my hand and I was like, actually, I have another way. Which is, of course, the, not so legal website way. And it feels weird to tell a professor to use this website in one of the most prestigious colleges in the west coast of USA. But I guess we're at that level. Like, playing of any movies just don't work in this freaking prestigious university. So she's like, fine. So I went to her laptop and put down the URL, and then I found the movie, and she was actually impressed. She's like, wow, okay, like, this is why we need a cinema student in every one of my classes. And then I played the movie, and it worked for like a minute, and then it started not working again. It skipped all the way till the end, as if we already finished watching the movie. I don't think it's my website's issue. I think it's some issue with the computer and the way it's projecting onto the screen. I guess it detects that it's trying to play a movie, and it just like doesn't want to project it because of copyright issues. But hopefully she figures it out next week. I mean, and she's like not very great with technology, so sometimes she's like, wait, where's the web page? Where's the page? And then I'm like, oh, I think it's in Safari. And she's using a Mac. I don't even use Mac. Sometimes she scrolled down and she's like, where is it? And I'm like, oh, can you scroll up? And, if I have like several ideas in mind on how to solve this issue. Like, I can play this movie and screen record it on my laptop just so that I can show it in class. Like, there's so many ways to solve this issue. But, yeah. Another thing is, like, she had a Criterion Blu-ray of The Last Temptation of Christ, which is the movie I'm going to write about. And she's like, oh, do you want it? Do you need it? I can lend it to you. And I'm like, I don't even have a DVD player. And she's like, oh, so you do have other ways to watch it? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, okay. And I'm like, wow, okay, that Blu-ray is like $40. So yeah. So, anyways, left. Went to. Oh yeah, so at that point, the professor was like, I'm sorry, guys. Oh yeah, when I input the website onto her laptop, because it's a shady website, so there are some like ads that are like questionable, but it's already very clean. Like, compared to many other websites, it's already very clean. But for some reason, there's something that looked like a butt, like a woman's butt, in an ad. But that's weird because I never see that kind of ad when I use that website. And also, I don't even know if it's really butt or not because I didn't like look, and I didn't even notice it. Maybe I'm just too sleep deprived. But anyways. So she let us all go. It was like 10:40-ish. So I have nothing to do. So I decided to just sit down. I have some extra time, so might as well make good use of the extra time to study or do something. I have my laptop with me, so I went all the way to the library, to Doheny Library, which I've never entered before. I entered it, and it's not bad. It's actually quite beautiful, old-timey structure. And I went to the Cinema Arts Library, which is on the basement floor, and it's kind of empty and kind of sad and full of old books that nobody really reads. It's okay, but yeah. So I went there and I sat down and I was gonna do some revision for my CTCS 300, but then I was distracted because I thought, well, might as well, when I have free time, this is a quiet spot, I might as well write Violent Femme. So I wrote it, and I'm like, oh wow, I'm onto something. And then it's already 11 12:25, so I had to leave to go to art history class. So I packed everything up, walked all the way to DMC, which is like 1 minute away. And I looked at the classroom and it's full of people I don't know. And I entered it and it's a professor I don't know. And then at that moment I'm like, oh shit, it's not time yet. So I completely forgot that art history starts at 12:30 and not 11:30. So I went back to the library again, sat down, and really just hammered out my new outline for Violent Femme, which I believe is really long, but really the best work so far. Like, this new version of Violent Femme is way better and way more emotional, and I love it. So I can't wait to write that. So finally, 12:15, I went over to DMC art history class, yippee-ki-yay. It's a little awkward because 2 days ago, on Tuesday, I talked to Carter about visiting the art museum together. So it would be weird if I go in and I pretend that he doesn't exist again. But I was doing something on my laptop and he walked by and he's like doing this, and I was like, hey, but he's already walked past me. So yeah, well, and then before the class started, so there's this Malaysian girl. Her name is Bridget, and there's this Chinese girl. Her name is Wendy. So the Malaysian girl is she's more in tune with America, as in she wears more American clothes and she has like earrings, and she's not thoughty, but like she's like artsy teenager kind of. Wendy is like full on just a student. She wears very plain, cheap clothes, wears a mask and glasses constantly, and quiet, you know. But you can tell she's a very good student because she sits center front, and she keeps like answering questions and everything. But they talk, and they immediately start talking Mandarin, and I'm like, oh wow, okay, so we're at that level now. It's like, it almost throws me back to Justin speaking to Leslie in Mandarin, which gave me weird feelings. But this one is, I guess, not that weird because I barely know them, but, you know. So after that, I can kind of confirm that Bridget is Malaysian and Wendy is really Chinese because she says she's Chinese. And I can sort of tell that it's like their first conversation in Mandarin. And I overhear them talking about going to museums. So I thought to myself, oh, it would be really nice if we could all go to the museum together, like organize this, like it's a field trip or something. Wendy said she's already gone there, and Bridget hasn't. So I'm like, ooh, maybe I should ask her. So the whole class went through, and today class was a little interesting. It was a TA teaching. The Hong Kong professor never showed up. It was a TA who's gonna teach us how to write, like writing tutorial class. And we had to form groups of 2. So just look at the person beside you and just form a team with them and write an essay together, like a quick 2-passage essay. So the person next to me is this, I think she's Latina or South Asian. Very light-skinned South Asian. I don't know, I'm sorry. She does seem like a Latina, and she's very quiet, and she has no idea what she's doing. So we teamed up together, and I basically wrote the whole thing. I basically chose an excerpt of an article and paired that with an image, and used these 2 sources to like make an argument. And she basically did nothing. She gave some ideas. That's it. And I was scared that she would not be okay with the fact that I'm contributing the most. But okay, anyways. After class, I was gonna like walk up to Carter and say, "Oh, see you tomorrow," but Carter just walked away. I'm like, okay. And the Latina was like, me? And I'm like, no, I was talking to him. Oh, and he's gone. Rip. Okay. But I also talked to the TA a little bit. The TA was like, oh, there's actually a Buddhist art class, and I was also a TA there. And I'm like, oh, a whole class about Buddhism? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting, because I want to minor in religion or archaeology. And she's like, yeah. Anyways, I digress. So I was just gonna walk away, and then I saw Bridget. And as I was passing by her, I wanted to ask her about the museum thing, but before I could do that, she asked me first. She's like, "Oh, um, I want to ask, have you been to the museum?" And I'm like, "No." And she's like, "Oh, so, I mean, what's your plan?" Or something like that. And I was like, "Oh, actually, I'm going tomorrow with Carter afternoon." And she's like, "Oh, okay, never mind." Because of time clashes, because she probably has a different class or whatever. Which is sad. I wish more people would go. Like, if it's like a whole gang going, like, come on, it's fun. But unfortunately, that's not true. So she just left, and I'm like, okay. But I'm glad she asked me if I'm going. I'm glad she considered that possibility. And I hope that in the future we could all go to art museums as a gang or something. I feel like that would be really nice. Um, in the syllabus, there's this, one of the classes is basically the USC Pacific Art Museum, but that museum's in Pasadena. Like, you know, so what's the plan? Are we gonna, like, 12:30, we're gonna go to a tour bus and we'll just drive all the way to Pasadena? Like, what's the plan here? So maybe that is also another opportunity for us to go on our own accord. Yeah, that's that. Went back home. I debated myself whether I want to go back to sleep or not. At the end, I didn't. If I'm alive and awake, might as well stay being awake and then wait until tonight, and then I can go to sleep fast and easy. Um, but still, I'm tired as fuck. So I spent like 3 hours doing nothing. But I still managed to film like a mini album review. So tonight, schedule is gonna be a little packed, but it's gonna be okay. I'm gonna watch some anime, edit some videos, do some revision, watch Syndromes in a Century, go to bed. Simple, easy. That's it. Yeah, and I ordered Attack on Titan Season 1 Part 1 on limited edition on eBay, which is $67. Tax, tips, delivery fee included. Part of me is like, fuck, I really don't want to spend that much money. I feel like I'm too obsessed with collecting Blu-rays now that I just keep spending money. It's like a trap. I must stop. But then at the same time, the thing is, I was gonna go for Amazon. I looked at my Blu-ray prices Google spreadsheet. On Amazon, it's $35. Turns out I was wrong. On Amazon, it's $200 and something. So, 60 something dollars on eBay is literally a steal. It's a fucking steal. It's a Blu-ray that's been out of print for like 10 years now, or at least 8 years ish. And, the original price is like $90. So if I can get in 67, might as well. So I did it. And I'm going to buy it anyways, So I did it. But because of that, I don't think I'm going to buy the ReZero Blu-ray until next month. I will buy it eventually. I'll just push it to next month. I've spent too much this month. I also filed the report. So when I went back home, somebody tore down my sign saying, "Oh, if you return my package, I'll give you $100 in cash." Someone tore it down. I knew it's not going to work, as expected. Worth a try though. But yeah, I went to Amazon and I filed a missing report, and I was like, "Hey, can you replace another item for me, or, can you just refund me, or at the very least give me a discount when I buy it again?" Again, it's not the extreme end of the world, because at the end of the day, it's not my money. It's my aunt's money, because I used my aunt's Amazon gift card to buy that Blu-ray. So I can buy it again. It's just fucking stupid. It's just a very fucking stupid conundrum. But yeah, March, if I can get ReZero, and then if I can get maybe another Attack on Titan Blu-ray, and then maybe the Criterions, I really want them. And the Master. I don't know. I'm thinking too much. Yeah, not much else, honestly. Um, really need to fix my sleep schedule. Yeah. I did some hair clips, so now it's a little dramatic, but I think this looks pretty nice. I look like an anime character. It looks like two brackets. Like two brackets. Which is pretty interesting. Okay, time now is 8:52 a.m. on February 23rd. Yeah, slept from 3:55 to 8:30. Yeah, or 8:50. So yeah, 5 hours. Not ideal, but honestly could be worse. And yeah, I low-key beat the 4 a.m. monster. I mean, 3:55, not great. I need to go to bed even earlier tonight. But, we're on to something. Last night when I was watching the Tatami Galaxy episode 4, I fell asleep. And I don't usually fall asleep in the middle of an anime. So, yeah. But I watched a 1 hour, 40 something minute long art house film and I didn't fall asleep at all. No, but yeah. Fuck. I need to sleep for real. But yeah, yesterday was pretty productive, mainly because I didn't really have a lot to do yesterday anyways. I didn't edit my Love and Death commentary video, which I've been pushing and pushing and pushing for days already, but otherwise I did a lot last night. So today I'm going to go to school for Art History 125 discussion, and then I'm gonna go to the Pacific Art Museum, or another museum. Both of them are in Pasadena. And it's gonna be fun, it's gonna be awesome. Yeah, and I'm going with someone I barely know, so yay, I guess. But yeah. Hopefully I don't return home too late today so that I have free time to do shit at night. But yeah, and then tomorrow it'll be pepper shoot, so low-key looking forward to that. And yeah, if we manage to finish all the shooting on one day, on Sunday I will have nothing to do. I'll sleep all day on Sunday and I'll chill. It's gonna be great. I really, really hope that's the case. Really, really hope that's the case. But yeah, yeah. I think that's one of them, the Gandhara. you're just walking past and suddenly there's a Buddha behind you. So these are all like Gandhara, right? Yeah. Alright, time now is 8:40 p.m. My laptop's screaming. I love it when that happens. Yeah, so, I'm hungry and sleepy and I'm gonna die, but for some reason I'm just in the mood to talk. So I'm just gonna do this real quick. So, today, slept for 5 hours, a little bit less than 5 hours, but still 5 hours. Not that bad, honestly. But still, 5 hours is fucking bad. But I guess relatively, it's not that bad. Um, I went to art history class discussion. Again, I was late for like a few minutes, and you can't blame me. The fucking bus was late. Um, I should start considering riding a bike to school. Like, I should really, because I have this bike. It's been in this apartment for 2.5 months. I should, every Thursday and Friday, I should just be like, you know what, fuck the, you know, bus. I'm just gonna take a bike there. But, yeah, so went to art history class discussion. I teamed up with two other people to, like, create an essay question or something. But yeah, overall, it wasn't much. It's not a lot. After the discussion, it's 10:50. I basically didn't have anything to do. I'm waiting for Carter. Um, and he's gonna show up at 12:30. So I'm like, well, I might as well just take a rest. So I went to the Doheny Library again. I went to the Cinematic Arts Library, the exact same seat, the exact same spot, and I just took a rest there. And it sort of felt like an airplane ride, as in 1.5 hours or 1 hour and 40 minutes feel very long, but actually, not really, because I was really sleepy, and there are so many times where I'm like, screw it. So I put down my phone and I just laid on the desk like this. Just like this. And it's almost a little nostalgic because back in secondary school, I do that all the time, just on the table. I didn't really fall asleep, but at the same time, I don't want to move at all because I'm just that sleepy. But at the end, you know, I typed a very long review. Actually, I typed 3 reviews on Letterboxd, and then time's up. Pens down. I need to go. So I walked to the USC Village. I found a seat at Dual Set at the side, and I ate the Trader Joe's wrap. Apparently, it's best used before February 20th, and it's already the 23rd today. But I'm like, screw it. It's not gonna kill me. So I ate it up, and it's okay. It's not a bad wrap, honestly. But again, I ate it up, you know. And then Carter showed up, lo and behold, in shorts and short white sleeved shirt. And he's here. It's happening. So I'm like, hey. And then we just called a lift. So he called a lift first, and then we went. And it's a little awkward, honestly, because we barely know each other. I nabbed him to go to the museum with me. Just so that I don't go alone. Just so that, like, we can go cheaper. I was gonna tell him, so while at the discussion class, I hear people, like, talking about going to the museum. And there's a girl, I think she's Vietnamese American, but she was like, oh, you know, I have a car and there are 3 spots left, like, we can go to the museum tomorrow, aka Saturday. I can't, I'm going today. And the guy next to me, who's Sri Lankan, I believe, or South Asian, I don't know. I don't know where does Sri Lanka come from. I think he mentioned that he's from Sri Lanka. I don't know. He's like, oh yeah, I need to go. And then Bridget, the Malaysian girl, was like, oh yeah, I need to go too. And I'm like, oh no, I'm going today. I was gonna mention to Carter, like, oh, by the way, there's this girl in our class who, like, you know, she's got a car and, you know, if only we could go tomorrow. But I realized that's a very dumb thing to say because he can go tomorrow. I can't. So he could have gone with them. And if I told him this, he would just be like, well, you're just, you know, telling me this just to spite me. Now I have to pay $30, $30-something for Lyft ride. So yeah. I didn't tell him at the end, but we took a Lyft ride together, and he's a very quiet guy. I'm a very quiet guy, too. So it's a lot of times we just have nothing to say, and I realize that it's dead airs like this that makes friendship not last. As in, like, the next time I go to class, I probably won't talk to him again. I will, out of niceness, because I'm a nice guy, but normally a person would not, because they wouldn't want to have dead air conversations again. But I was like, oh, so what's your major? What year are you in? Where are you from? You know, he's from Seattle, apparently, and he's a game design major. So he's an SCA fellow SCA student as well. And he's like, oh, I feel like we've had this conversation before. And in my head, I'm like, I'm pretty sure we haven't. I barely know you, dude. And so we talked a little bit, and there are many dead air moments, but we finally arrived at Pasadena. It's $34 fucking dollars for the ride. It's 28, but then with tips and stuff, it's 34, which is silly. Like, just don't tip that much, bro. But anyways, we arrived at Pasadena. We're there. It's happening. We went into this museum, and man, is this museum large. It's bigger than I thought it is. So I went downstairs, and it's just a lot, like a shit ton of Southeast Asian Buddhas. Indian Buddhas, Pakistani, Thai, Cambodian, Tibetan. Just a lot of that. Burmese, and we just went through all of that. I also had to put my diagonal bag forward because, I don't know, they're scared that my diagonal bag may accidentally bump into Buddha statues, which is reasonable and valid, but it's like I've never asked to do this before. He has to give his water bottle away at the counter because it's not allowed in the museum. Okay. And then we were like, oh, well, might as well visit the rest of the museum. So we went to the Norton Simon Museum because in the syllabus it says that we are going to the USC Pacific Asian Art Museum in the future anyway, so might as well go to the one where we have to, in the future. And it's our only chance. So I visited other European art sections, which is the main thing in that museum, anyways. And yeah, it's okay. Like the paintings are okay, but I had fun. Like normally I go to these art museums and I'm like, okay, another boring portrait. But honestly, this time around, given that I already have some kind of basic knowledge about Western art history, I was able to tell, oh, that's Baroque. Oh, that's Rococo. Oh, that's a mannerism, you know. And I was able to tell, oh, that's freaking, there are actually 4 Picasso paintings in there, or 5, or whatever. There are some like Monets in there. Like it's not a bad museum at all. Uh, it's not bad. There's like a Rembrandt painting as well. There's a self-portrait of Rembrandt in there. So it's genuinely not a bad museum. So I went through a lot of those and I took a lot of photos, and there's this giant panel from Italy, and it's like tempera painting. And I like, not only is it because I studied Western art history and fucking Italo-Byzantine art. But also I'm taking a religion class and I know a lot of like biblical references. So I looked at this giant panel about the Virgin Mary getting crowned for some reason. Like, why is she getting crowned? I don't know. But like a bunch of small golden panels at the sides depict the life of Jesus Christ, and I'm like, oh, I know that scene. Oh, I know that scene, and I can sort of like see how they depict it, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, like I looked at the panel for a long time, but so it's really cool that I'm actually into this shit now. So yeah, so we left. We called a lift. Like this went really fast. I thought I'll return home by the time of 6 p.m., but honestly, at around 4 p.m., or actually at around 3 ish p.m. Around 3, maybe 3:05, we have returned to the USC Village. He walked back home. I zelled him $2, and now we're even Steven. I called the lift back. And yeah, so I waited for the bus and I had to wait a whole hour. I originally was going to wait for like 13 minutes for the bus to show up, but of course the bus number 38 disappeared. It has disappeared, it doesn't exist, so I have to wait the next one. It's 40 something minutes later, so all in total it's an hour. So I stood there for a whole hour for the bus to arrive. Amazing, fantastic. I low-key wanted to just walk home, but at the same time I'm too tired, and for some reason it's getting hot again, and I'm sweating. So anyways, came back home, took a shower. I wanted to go back to sleep, but at the same time I don't, because I want to sleep earlier tonight. But I went back to sleep anyways, and I couldn't fall asleep, so I'm like, fine, screw it. So here I am. Also, Vanessa, the girl roommate, I'm guessing it's her, brought a couple people into this apartment, and they're speaking English, and they're playing something on the TV. It's like, oh, like, what's happening? What the hell? Why is she here again? Like, why? Like, what's happening? I don't know. But anyways, I'm gonna go have dinner now. I'm gonna do the short film shoot tomorrow. There is a Hong Konger girl there, aside from Pepper. So that's gonna be interesting. And she's the second AC. And I'm the scripty, so I'm gonna have to speak to her now. But aside from that, we also have Aoba, who is someone I trust. A familiar sight, someone I can talk to and hang out with. It's fine. It's interesting how a random girl from Hokkaido, Japan, is now like a familiar sight. Like a little safety. Also, a safety zone is Jonathan. So, look forward to talking to him and stuff. There's also Karn, the Russian guy, but I don't know him that well anyways. So yeah, hopefully it works out. And I'm going to go to bed at 3 a.m. at the latest. If I have to take a sleeping pill, I will, because the call time tomorrow is 8. Which means that I have to probably wake up at around 7 tomorrow anyways. So fuck me. Hopefully we don't have to do this on Sunday. If we do, then I'm sad, but hopefully we don't. So yeah. Also, quick addition. Apparently, so it's movies, right? So Criterion subscribers are getting emails of saying 10% off coupons are being distributed. And usually when this happens, it means that the Criterion flash sale is happening. So it's happening as soon as possible. It always happens on a Tuesday, which means next Tuesday, Criterion flash sale, which is February 27th. So I'm going to spend $100 there. I have to. God damn, I'm buying too many Blu-rays. And again, I feel like scared. Like, what if my package is fucking stolen again, you know? The Amazon guy, not Amazon guy, the guy who works for the company, who responded to me on Amazon messages, saw my refund request and literally copy and pasted his previous message and sent it to me again, which is like, basically, it means fuck you. So, like, fuck you, please give me my money back. And again, it's so weird, like, Amazon should have notified me. They should have sent me an email saying, hey, it's delivered. But no, they didn't. And then they expected the delivery to be February 27th. Not true. So I saw another message saying, oh, it's a holiday season. There's a spike in traffic, so maybe the delivery will be delayed. What do you mean delivery delayed? It's already delivered. It's already fucking delivered. What do you mean? What do you mean holiday? You mean President's Day? The one fucking day? Like, what do you mean? So, I don't know. Part of me wants to think that... part of me wants to think that it's an error and that the package was never delivered. For some reason it says delivered because the Amazon employee is a fucking idiot. It's never delivered. It's still coming to me on February 27th. I don't know. I do not know. But, yeah. If that thing truly does show up, Attack on Titan Season 1 Part 2, I already ordered Season 1 Part 1 on eBay. I already ordered Season 3 Part 1. And Season 2 is really easy to find. So I already have, like, more than half of the collection. Final Season Part 2 is easy to find. Final Season Part 1 is a bit expensive now. Season 3 Part 2 is insanely expensive. But, you know, it's totally not a pipe dream to collect all the Attack on Titan Blu-rays. It's not a pipe dream at all. The pipe dream would be the Monogatari series. Nisei Monogatari I can buy for $240, which is expensive and crazy, but I'll buy it if I have a job. Kizu Monogatari, nada. There's 1 and 3 on eBay for very expensive prices. 2 is just completely wiped off the internet. There's no Kizu Monogatari Part 2 Blu-ray anywhere, aside from the Japanese version, which I don't want because there are no subtitles there. So what's the point? Hopefully, inshallah, in the future, somebody sells it on eBay and I'll immediately buy it. I don't care about the price. Neko Monogatari is available, also $90-something. But yeah, the Criterions are happening, so that's cool, I guess. Time now is 7:03 a.m. on February 24th. My God, I want to die. Why did I agree to this? So, yeah, slept from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. Really fucking impressive that I went to bed at 3 a.m. Actually, really impressive. In fact, I actually went to bed even earlier than 3 a.m. I took a shower at 2:25. So, you know, half an hour later, boom. So around 2:50-ish, I'm here on the bed. I didn't immediately fall asleep as expected, but I think my melatonin pill worked. So I still fell asleep relatively fast, in my opinion. So here we go. Not exactly 4 hours to be honest, because it took time for me to fall asleep, but still. This counts as 4 hours, which is terrible, but there will be coffee at LMU, trust me. Yeah, fuck. But it's really impressive that I went to bed at 3 a.m. That's really impressive, and I hope that continues for the rest of my life. 3 a.m. or earlier. Tonight, for instance. And then, yeah, just, fuck, I'm so sleepy. Yeah, so today it's a Pepper short film. It's produced by Pepper, but it's, directed by someone, who I believe is a Latina. But, yeah, the crew is very Asian. I'm Asian, Pepper's Asian, second AC is a Hong Konger girl, so I don't know. Good to know another Hong Konger, The gaffer's Asian, All the spots a lot of spots are Asian. Jonathan's picking me up very soon, so looking forward to seeing him again. I also shaved last night. I shaved this part as well, trimmed this part. It's weird because usually on film shoots, I just remain rough. Like, haha, look at me, rough and sleep deprived. But today, I'm showing up to Pepper again. I want to look a little better, because it's been a while since I've seen her. It's been a while. It's been 8 months, I believe. Yeah, also, the Attack on Titan Blu-ray is coming tonight at 8 p.m. So, hopefully, this thing wraps earlier, so that I can immediately go home and check my mailbox, in case somebody decides to fucking steal it again, which would honestly be amazing if someone does that. It would truly be fantastic. But I'll be here. I made sure they email me the moment it's delivered. I made sure they email me if there's any updates. And the update is, even though the expected delivery is the 28th, is delivering tonight. And I'll be guarding that mailbox like a dog, okay? So, yeah.
So that entire first day basically gets wasted, right? We get like a scene and a half done.
Oh, hi.
And cut. And cut.
Let me just listen back to that.
We're almost done with the lighting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're good.
Okay. All right. And action. And cut.
Let me just.
And action.
Throwback to the
like, I thought it was millennial for the longest time.
Wait,
And then I found out
real
Gen
quick.
Z is like a thing, was a thing.
Tell me how this is. 10.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
Oh, come on. Oh. Oh. No freaking way. No freaking way. Okay, I'm gonna stand up. I'm really tired, but if I sit down, I probably can't talk. Because my brain would just fall asleep. So I'm gonna walk and talk, the usual, but I am very tired and I really want to stop walking. So anyways, time now is 12:23 after midnight, and today is a pretty interesting day. Woke up at 7 in the morning, despite sleeping a little bit less than 4 hours. I mean, I went to bed at 3, earlier than 3, but, of course I didn't immediately fall asleep, so my sleep time definitely is not, 4 hours, but I think part of the reason why I didn't feel like shit in the morning is because I'm proud of myself for being able to sleep at 3 or even earlier than 3. It's crazy how in the last 6 weeks I've been struggling to sleep earlier than 4, and then yesterday it was so easy. Like sleeping earlier than 3 was really fucking easy. So because I really didn't plan to do anything yesterday, really didn't plan to do much, so everything sort of came off really easy, and yeah, everything's easy. Yeah, shit, things, whatever. But yeah, so I woke up and I, brushed my teeth. I did this, brush my teeth. I do all my morning duties. And I have the time to eat 2 cookies, but I thought to myself, well, if I shove 2 cookies down my throat right now, it's gonna feel terrible. It's gonna taste terrible, it's gonna feel terrible. Why don't I just grab a small plastic bag, grab a couple pieces of tissue paper, stack 2 cookies, and put it in the tissue paper and put it in the plastic bag and bring it to set so that I could eat it on set. So I did that, and I'm ready to go. And then Jonathan texted me saying, hey, I'm on my way. And then he texted me again saying, oh, this guy named Santiago is coming to your place right now because he needs a ride too. So I'm like, okay. So, at some point I changed all my clothes already and I'm pretty much ready to go. Jonathan texted me, oh, Santiago's here. So I left my apartment and went outside and I actually saw him. And he's like, cause like, the entire street is empty. It's just me. And I thought I needed to let him in because it's cold outside and it's like the ghettos and it's 7 in the fucking morning. But he's like, oh, I'm gonna just chill out here. I'm like, okay, I'll be right out. So I went back here and I packed up, got my water bottle and everything. I'm ready to leave. I got a portable charger, I got a water bottle. I'm clean shaven from last night. Usually I show up to film sets very rough, but for some reason today I'm showing up very well prepared. Like, it's like I'm packing for a trip, for a hiking, but I'm just shooting movies. But for me, going onto a film set is like going for a hike. It's not that different anyways. It's, a lot of long hours, you're gonna be tired as fuck, and you need to be vigilant constantly. So Jonathan's like, oh, here, and I'm like, okay. So I left, and we went into Jonathan's car, and we drove off. And it's nice. I spoke to the guy a little bit, and I spoke to Jonathan a little bit. The guy is a USC student. So apparently, Pepper only figured out Santiago's transportation issue last night. And he texted Jonathan, and Jonathan didn't get the text, and Jonathan found the text this morning. And they figured it out this morning by having Santiago go to my place. But, he's a USC student. He's in screenwriting major. But he's a grip today, which is really interesting. Screenwriting and grip are like opposite of each other. Like, screenwriting is like skinny, nerdy classes, but gripping is like, strong muscles. He definitely looks like the grip type though. But yeah, it's actually pretty crazy because I haven't seen Jonathan in a while. I haven't seen him for over half a month. Haven't seen Pepper in over half a month either. Not half a month, half a year. And so it's interesting. So much time has passed. I can't help but, I don't know why I say I can't help. I remember, like, the last time I saw Jonathan was the interview, and after the interview, Jonathan drove me home back to Sawtell. And even in the car ride, it was a little bit awkward between us. And by that, I don't mean like awkward tension. By that, I mean like we're not that close. But for some reason, in the last few months, because I and Jonathan have talked a little bit more on Instagram, we share memes to each other, so I feel so much more comfortable around Jonathan today. Like, it's weird. I sort of knew that out of the entire film set today, even though there's literally a Hong Konger girl there that is Pepper, even though there's a Japanese girl I've known even earlier than Jonathan, but somehow, actually, the Japanese girl, Aoba and Jonathan, I know them like at the same time, kind of. But somehow the man I'm the closest with, the person I'm closest to, is gonna be a 20-something-year-old Latino guy. And it's true, like throughout the entire film shoot today, I talk to him the most and I hang out with him the most. Like, I just naturally walk up to him and talk to him and we joke around and he walks up to me. And, like, we eat lunch together at the same table. It's weird. Like, he's the closest one to me now. And I think, it's testament to, earlier when I came to LA, I was like, oh, I can only hang out. It's a testament to, oh, what the fuck's happening? I don't know what the fuck's happening. Earlier when I came to LA, I was like, oh, I can only hang out with Hong Kongers, because, I'm truly only culturally connected to other Hong Kongers. But the truth is, I've lived here for like 2 years now, and this is not a race thing anymore, and this is more like common experience. And out of all those people there on the set today, Jonathan is the only person who's been through ends and means with me. And, like, we're fucking comrades now. So, because we've lived through the same nightmare, or a similar nightmare. And it's funny, because, like, I think half the time we're hanging out today, we're basically talking about ends and means again. Again, it's been like 8 months since ends and means was over. A whole semester had gone by, but we still couldn't help but, you know, talk about ends and means a lot. But anyways, we arrived, and apparently it's not LMU main campus. I've been to the main campus twice, but apparently it's the Playa Vista campus, which is great. I think it's a great opportunity for me to visit the Playa Vista campus. I didn't know such a place exists, and goddamn, this might as well be one of the fanciest, coolest looking campuses I've ever been to in my life. It's like CMD but better, a whole ass complex of multiple giant buildings. It's like CMD but like 6 times, 7 times larger. Many floors, and these floors look genuinely good. CMD looks like a fun, modernist, futuristic, house simulation. The Playa Vista campus feels like a futuristic mall. Like, it's really nice and trendy. It has music playing in the lobby. It feels like a hotel. I went in, and lo and behold, there's Pepper. I low-key thought Pepper would look super different. Like, given that I haven't seen her in 8 months, and I don't know, Pepper may dye her hair pink, and maybe she has short hair now, or maybe she has super ultra long hair, and she's putting it all down. No, Pepper looked exactly the same as, I last saw her, and she's like, hey, I'm like, hi. So I look a little different. Like, my hair's like middle part, and I shaved. Like, I have a whole different feel to me now. I worked out a little bit. I've gained weight, so there's a little more meat on me. I'm more confident now. I feel like they did notice my change, especially Pepper and Jonathan, who hadn't seen me in such a long time. But yeah, and Jonathan did comment on my change. Jonathan was like, "Oh, last time I saw you, you had baby face, but now I feel like you've grown up," which is insane because part of the reason why I decided to grow a mustache in the last 4 years is because I don't want to have a baby face. I want to look more mature, but somehow shaving it made me more mature because I'm embracing my face, and also I'm showing my forehead, and it's an act of confidence, and that implies maturity, so somehow that feels more mature. But anyways, we arrived, and Pepper gave me a sign-up sheet so that I can ask everyone to sign up, their time, sign in. And first of all, we stayed at one location the whole day today, and it's a sound stage, but also it's basically like an empty cafe or an empty restaurant. It's super nice, giant glass windows. The AC is perfect temperature. Very clean, squeaky clean. This area, it's like a restaurant, but and it even has like really nice like couches and tables and like a little island, quote unquote island area, like a bar area where we use for crafty. But it's not a bar. It's just this curved table at the side that just looks really cool. Like, goddamn, what the hell is this campus? But it is a soundstage. If you look up, it's like a grid, and these grids are designed that way so that you can hang lights on them and shoot movies there. Like, what's happening? I don't know. But yeah. So I saw Alba, I saw Karen, and there's a bunch of other people. So the DP is this black dude named Avery, the only black guy with dreads and glasses, and he knows what he's doing, but no way in hell is he even close to being as talented as Cliff or Lauren. Like, I low-key expected to be disappointed when I went to this LMU shoot. My expectations were pretty much there. Like, this shoot, like, I feel like my own short film shoot is even more professional than this shoot. But this shoot is genuinely not bad. But the director, I can tell this is like one of her first few times directing. Her name is Celine, and it's a Latina girl. And I can tell it's one of her first times because he's indecisive sometimes. Sometimes he doesn't even know what's going on. And then the shooting schedule is fucking insane. We're going through 3 pages. 3 pages in one day makes sense. To me, I can pull that off. But there's so many shots. They're like 30 something, 40 shots in one day. For a 13-person crew, 40 shots in one day is ridiculous. And it's like 15 minutes per shot. And when I just looked at the schedule, I'm like, there's no way we're going to be able to get through that. So it's sort of true. So at the end of the day today, we actually went through all of that, but we skipped so many shots. And rightfully so, because there's so many repeated coverage of the same goddamn action. Another thing is this script is all action. There's dialogue, but it's so minimal. But it's all action, and it's about a woman or a girl, I guess. I don't know if she's older or younger than me. She went into an art gallery, and it's like a life exhibition. And it's like show and tell. And she has a pedestal, and she needs to put something on the pedestal to represent her life. And she sort of doesn't know what to do, and she's frustrated. She has a whole box of things, and she doesn't know what to put on there. So at the end, she just put everything on there, and everything sort of fell apart. And when the exhibition is open, and there's like a quote-unquote crowd, but it's basically me, Jonathan, 2 people in the art department, and the director's parents, 6 people, crowd. We're all like, oh, it's really good, yeah. You know? And she's like, oh, okay. And I guess in some aspects, this is a good concept. Like, this is a short film about the creation of art, which I really love. But at the same time, it doesn't have anything else to say. There's no intrigue. And it's very clean. Like, the entire environment is so pure white. It's so modernistic. It's so clean and well-shaved and polished and sterile. It's like, it's not my style. And then the art department is just 2 girls. It's just 1 production designer and 1 PA. And they don't do anything. Throughout the entire day, they just sit down and look at their laptop and listen to music. They basically did nothing. They did set up like stuff from time to time, but 95% of the time, they're just looking at their laptops. The camera team consists of the black guy, DP, who's also cam mopping. First AC was a white girl. And then the second AC, Natalie. When she arrived, not to be confused with the Singaporean Natalie I have back in Hong Kong. When she arrived, I'm like, oh my god, it's her. Is she the Hong Konger? And she's the last one to arrive. I pointed the sign-up sheet at her, and she's like, and I was like, I don't know what to say. Should I say Cantonese to her? Like what do I say? So I'm just like, can you sign up? And she's like, oh yeah, sure. And she said that so naturally and with such an American accent that I was like, oh fuck. So is she like an Asian American? Fuck. Like, oh, what a shame. And she's also like not that visual appealing. She's not terrible, but she's okay. She's like, you know, in the middle ranges, you know. I'd say she's in Pepper's range. So throughout the entire day, I didn't really get the chance to speak to her. And again, her last name is a very Hong Konger last name. But at the same time, she speaks English very well. But slowly, I started to notice her speaking to Pepper in Cantonese. And I'm like, oh, okay, so she's Hong Konger. And also when she speaks English, while it's very American and it sounds very natural, there's an accent. I can hear it. But she speaks it with so much confidence and fluency. It's like, okay, she's a way better English speaker than Pepper. Yeah. Aoba is still probably the worst English speaker on set, but she genuinely doesn't care. Sometimes I forget how innocent and pure Aoba is. I mean, she's like from a small village in Hokkaido. What do you expect? But like, Jonathan talked to Aoba about how Film 33 is a horror story. And Aoba took it literally and was like, oh, Film 33 is a horror? I thought it's like crime thriller. And I was like, oh, it's a horror story, meaning that it's a nightmare for both of us. And Aoba laughed, like, oh, finally I got the joke. I had to be like the translator. Not only not translating the language, but more like translating the culture, translating the humor, you know. But yeah, we went through the thing. I'm scripty, and honestly, given how little dialogue there is in this short film, I didn't really care about line continuity or like lines in general. Mostly I did logging with my Google spreadsheet, and I think I do a pretty good job because I've done this several times already. I even brought two phones, like both my phones over there, this one and this one, but I never used the other one because sometimes, you know, you need two devices for, you know, if you're a real hardcore scripty, but I didn't need to do that today at all. I think I did a pretty good job. I think it's because I've done scripty like 4 times already, 3 or 4 times. So I guess technically 4 times already, and today's the 5th time. Technically, right? First time it was the Once in a Blue Moon. Then it's John L's short film. Then Breathless, technically. Then Andrew's short film, Reincarnate. Then this one. So today's the 5th time. So I sort of know what to do. So I had a Google spreadsheet, and there are moments where Pepper and Celine, the director, would say something to each other. I would overhear it, and then Celine would go like, "Oh, can you write that down?" And I point my phone to her. I was like, "Oh yeah, I wrote it down already." And she's like, "Oh, wow, okay. Of course you got it." So I think I did a pretty good job. But honestly, it's a very chill position. In fact, today it's super chill. And it's kind of a good thing. Like, it's not an intense short film at all. Like, I've been to a fair amount of film sets. This has to be one of the top 5 most chill film sets I've ever been to. It's insanely chill. There's AC on. There's like, everyone's sort of like, you know, everything's sort of like chill. The only thing that makes this not the chillest would be the time factor. Again, we have like 40 shots in 12 hours. And at some point we're like an hour behind. But at some point we started picking up our pace and we started shooting very fast again. And we somehow made it through the entire day. Jonathan was like, "Oh, there's no way we could finish it." But we did. So, you know. And Jonathan was like, "Wow, like I've never been on a set where we move on this fast." And I'm like, "Well, wait until you go onto my set. I move on in just the same pace, but maybe a little slower because my shots tend to be very complicated." Another thing with this shoot is that all the shot choices are very fucking boring, and all this coverage makes no sense. It's very indecisive. Like, the same event happens, the same action happens, and there needs to be a camera in the back. There needs to be a camera in the front. There needs to be a camera in the front, but closer. There needs to be a camera in the back, but closer. Might as well have a camera in the side shot. So there's like 3-4 coverage of the same action. Like, you don't need that. Like, in action-heavy short films like this, I'd rather just storyboard it, so I know what necessary shots I need. So I can just get all those shots in sequence. I have the editing in mind. Boom, 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 boom. This is going to be a nightmare because there's so much coverage. It's like, oh, should I cut to this angle and cut back? It's like, oh, so many decisions. And then, yeah. And so at some point it started to get really confusing, and we jumped around as well. Even though we shot it chronologically, scene 1, 2, and then 4, and then 3, but we kept switching things around, like switching the shots around. So at some point I asked for a pencil, and I started lining the script in real time, just so that I know like what the hell is happening. And I think it really helped because near the end of the shoot, I realized there's a huge problem. So scene 3 is nighttime, 1, 2, 4 is daytime. That's why it's 1, 2, 4, 3. But for some reason, some shots in scene 3 is labeled 4. And We shot them while it's daytime, which makes no sense. It's supposed to be nighttime, and it's supposed to be the first day of the story. Like, they're 2 days inside the story, right? Scene 4 is like the next morning. So I went up to the director and I was like, okay, I'm kind of confused. And the director's like, oh shit. Like, I'm like, kind of, this is very messy, but thanks for telling me. Wow. Like, the director didn't even notice that we just shot some shots for scene 3, but we called it scene 4. Like, we messed up. So at the end we changed a lot, but it's okay. I don't know though. It's because this is a very chill film set. It doesn't feel like, you know, we've been through all the ups and downs and the hells. You know, it doesn't feel like John L. short film. John L. short film is still my favorite film shoot experience, simply because it's a very fun set. At the same time, it's challenging. Like, it's not a set where you can just slack off and, you know, sit around. Like, it's challenging. It's very tiring. But it's, you also gain so much friendships and you learn so much through the shoot, but it's also super tiring. So I really like John L. short film, but this one is also nice. I just feel like, sometimes I feel like a veteran, because sometimes I know what to do. Jonathan feels like a veteran sometimes. Like, there's a focusing issue, and Jonathan whispered to me, and he was like, I know how to fix that. And I'm like, how? Oh, you just turn on peaking. So that's, of course you do that. But they don't know how to do that with Canon C300, which is, by the way, not even that great of camera. Like, every film school has its issues. The issue with LMU is that they use Canon C300, and it's like the only camera they provide, which is whack, because every other film school provides Sony Venices, or at least Sony FX6 or FX9, you know? Canons are for children. And they use Canon primes, which not a fan of at all, but, you know, you do you. But LMU is very, like, it's very pro-indie filmmaking, so I really like that aspect. What else? Yeah, so, lunch break happened. We had Domino's pizza, which at first is like an eye roll, like, ugh, pizza again. But no, they had so much money. They ordered so much food. It's insane. Like, they had pizza, they had, like, pasta, like penne macaroni. They had Caesar salad, like 3 bowls of Caesar salad. And they had fried chicken, like chicken nuggets, and then, like, fried chicken wings, and then spicy fried chicken wings. And they tried a little bit of everything, and they even had sandwiches. They had, like, Philly cheesesteak, pepperoni sandwiches. They had this mango and habanero sandwich, which is more Mexican. It's like chicken, cheese, jalapeno, and mango, and I tried that as well, and I ate so much. I felt full, which is crazy. Usually for lunch, I eat around maybe 500 to 600 calories, and then I'm done. But today I probably had like 1100, 1200 calories for lunch. And, you know, might as well. It's a free lunch, not quote unquote free, but, you know, my labor pays for it. Might as well take as much as I can, because I'm given the opportunity, you know. Beggars can't be choosers. If given the opportunity, I eat. So, if there's food, I eat. Simple logic, right? Okay, I need to sit. Fuck me. So yeah, I and Jonathan, we sat down, we ate, and during lunch, we only had half an hour, but I was like, oh, I really want to talk to that Hong Konger girl, right? So, a little bit after that, I low-key wanted to, like, prank her by, like, randomly going up to her and speaking in Cantonese, but I realized, like, okay, I don't really get the chance to do that, so, but I still did that, sort of. So I went up to her, I waited a moment where she's, like, not doing anything important, just looking at her phone, and I was like, hey, and I immediately spoke Cantonese to her, like, you're from Hong Kong too. And she was surprised. She's like, oh, what? Wait, you speak Cantonese too? She wasn't that surprised, but she's like, oh, okay. And I'm surprised that she's surprised, because throughout the morning, I spoke to Pepper in Cantonese, but she just didn't hear it. But I could hear her speak to Pepper in Cantonese. But anyways, so we didn't converse that much, but all I know is she's year 1. She's freshman. So I think she's 19 or 20. I think 19. She directly went from Hong Kong to LMU. And then she's majoring animation. I mean, she applied for a bunch of film schools, and all of them waitlisted her, which is insane. Like, being waitlisted is crazy. NYU waitlisted her, USC waitlisted her, UCLA waitlisted her, all for film production. For some reason, she's just that fucking good. But at the end, she went to LMU for animation, and she's thinking of changing to screenwriting. And like I said, she's not that visually appealing. She doesn't. I saw her, and her English is very good, but one of the reasons why I can tell she's a Hong Konger is the clothes she's wearing, and the fact that she's not wearing any makeup. I mean, there is a very stereotypical Hong Konger girl, like, stereotype, where it's like, okay, very heavy makeup, fancy clothes, but she's not that. She's like the more OG traditional kind of Hong Konger girl. She's not wearing any makeup. She's just wearing very plain clothes. She obviously gives zero shits about how she looks. And then she doesn't give off like, ooh, flirty American, you know, or like free living American. She just acts like a Hong Konger. She's kind of talkative and funny, and like, but not in a cheery way, just in a, okay, whatever, okay, sure. Like, but at the same time, it's like, she sings to herself and she dances around sometimes. She feels like a Christian person. Like, she feels like a Protestant Christian, as in, like, you know, very, not uptight, but like very normal, very pure and normal and innocent. And but yeah, I spoke to her a little bit. So you know, I talked to her about, you know, USC versus LMU, and then a little bit later I explained the whole scene 3 scene 4 switch thing. And then a little bit later, at the end of the day, when she was doing DIT, I talked to her a little bit more about, like, why did you get into film, and like, what do you want to do. She says she wants to be a producer / editor. She doesn't want to be writer director. She just can't do that, but she likes editing, and she only found out about film in high school. So she went from a local secondary school to an international secondary school in Hong Kong. And I mean, that explains why she's so good at speaking English, but also her Chinese is terrible, and she like found out that film is a thing in international school, so she decided to do film since then. And it's only until recently she got into like the world of editing, but I can tell she knows a thing or two about editing, like more so than Pepper, because she was explaining LUTs, like Rec 709. I know what Rec 709 is, come on, but Pepper doesn't know, and a lot of people doesn't know. And like, there's a sound guy who broke both his elbows, and he's like kind of awkward. She reminds me of Shane. She's like, he's not that social, but he's very funny, and he keeps dropping like references to movies. Like, I can tell he's a real like cinephile, but he's doing sound. And what was I gonna say about him? Yeah, he wants to be a writer director. Oh yeah. He was like, oh, do you want him laved? Like, do you want me to lave him? And the director doesn't know what lav means, or someone doesn't know what lav means. I mean, obviously it means lavalier. It's a mic, which is crazy. But yeah. But the girl Natalie, she knows a thing or two about LUTs and editing and like hard drives. She tested out 3 hard drives during DIT because all 3 of them kept failing, but she succeeded at the end. But yeah. Second half of the shoot was definitely faster than the first half. I changed my clothes. I think I was the only person taking this as seriously. Because I had to be an extra, so I brought like a fancy suit. I brought nice pants and belt. And even though it's not that complicated of a change, I do look completely different. Like I'm wearing a green shirt on top of a white shirt. Took out the green, now I have the white. White pairs with that suit. Pants change in the bathroom. Shoes change. So I look fucking different. And Jonathan had to be in the shot as well. All he did was change the jacket. So I'm kind of like, well, I wish I didn't take this seriously, honestly. But it's okay. I don't have a lot of opportunities to wear that suit anyways. Yeah, and then what else? Yeah, not much else. We finished it, we wrapped, and we even had a lot of free time to wrap. And I got like 3 people, 4 people's Instagrams, and then we went. And then I and Jonathan drove me home. The other guy, Santiago, his family picked him up. So we went, and the end, and I went back home. Yay, not bad for a day. I ate so much food. I even had like half a pack of potato chips and a mini croissant and a cup of coffee in the morning. Yeah. So great news is tomorrow morning, sleep all day. That's a very important thing because tomorrow I need to study for my CTCS 300 midterms, and do my art history class paper, and also my religion homework. Oh my god, kill me. And I also need to sleep because I haven't slept properly since Tuesday. And if I don't have a good sleep tomorrow, it'll be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So it will be until next Saturday when I get a good night's sleep, which is torture. Yeah. So, yippee-ki-yay, right? Another thing is this morning I received an email saying, oh, delivery update. It's now gonna come earlier. So originally my Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 1 is coming on, late Feb, early March. Turns out it's coming tonight at 8:05 p.m. Holy fuck, not again. So I was low-key worried during the shoot, but I came back home around 8:30 and it's there. I found it. It's there on the ground. Nobody stole it. I think because of my sign, it sort of scared off the thief a little bit, scared them off, just a tiny bit. But I got it. Somehow eBay is even more trustable than Amazon. So I opened the box and holy fuck, the Attack on Titan Blu-ray. It's real. It's in my hands now. My god, it's beautiful. Also, I've been looking into Criterion's because I know next Tuesday will be the Criterion Mumbo Jumbo. And my plan is Seven Samurai, Parasite, Yi, and In the Mood for Love. But I did some digging and I realized Seven Samurai may receive a 4K treatment. So as much as I love a Seven Samurai Blu-ray, I can't buy it now. I can't buy it next Tuesday. I have to wait. So instead, I'm gonna buy Persona, which is gonna be $5 cheaper. I did think about, because Persona is not really the most enjoyable film ever, but it is also one of the greatest films ever. But I don't know. Maybe I should buy something else. Maybe I should buy Barry Lyndon. And then I was doing some thinking, and I was like, what if I buy Persona and Barry Lyndon, like 5 Blu-rays, and that would be $100. But it would be worth it. And then I'm like, maybe not. Like, because I already bought so much Attack on Titan, I should chill out a little bit and buy 4 Blu-rays. And then I was like, oh yeah, and also Barry Lyndon's gonna get a 4K soon. But will the 4K be on Criterion, or will it be on some other label like Kino Lorber? Who knows? I don't know. Nobody knows. But maybe it's a good idea to wait, because Barry Lyndon is a beautiful film and 4K is necessary. So I think I'm just gonna do, Yee in the Mood for Love, Parasite, Persona. Yeah. Also, Persona will be my first European film, and also the first film I'm gonna own older than 1995. And it's from 1966, so that's crazy. Not much else. I'm tired as fuck. I am going to sleep at 3 a.m. Tonight, or earlier. I think 3 a.m. is a reasonable time. I'm gonna watch some anime to close it off. Hopefully don't fall asleep. And maybe do a little bit, just a wee bit of studying for CTCS 300. Not much else. Yeah. One moment that sort of impressed me was when I was talking to the sound guy, whose name was Blake, and Natalie. I was like talking about how in USC the TA was like, oh, who here watched Tokyo Story? And I was the only one. And the Blake was like, wow, of course Blake knows. And Natalie was like, what? They don't know Tokyo Story? And I don't know if she's actually seen the film before, but like, I think she has, and I'm impressed. I think she's seen even more films than Pepper. I probably have seen more films than her, but still, like, in USC, nobody, like 60-70% of people don't know Tokyo Story, which is fucking insane. But yeah, I really wish I could meet cinephiles in USC. Like, I know there are, I just want to meet one and befriend one, like, for real.